The snow has finally melted in Flagstaff, but the tension within the Brown family is intensifying, and this time the battleground is not a text message or a holiday gathering, but an empty first-class seat on a flight from Salt Lake City, an event that has sent shockwaves through those observing the family's summer plans. Exclusive, though unconfirmed, reports suggest that Kody Brown recently purchased a premium plane ticket for Truly Lee to spend the summer at Coyote Pass, reportedly dubbing it a reconciliation tour designed for the cameras, yet the flight took off with the seat unoccupied, signaling more than just a missed journey. It has been interpreted as a decisive assertion of independence by a teenager long overlooked, a dramatic refusal that has left Kody scrambling to salvage a storyline he assumed was guaranteed, with David Woolley's presence in Truly's life shifting the family dynamic permanently. The drama is heightened by the timing, as summer coincides with filming season, and the pressure to generate content is mounting, particularly with the departure of several adult figures from the household, leaving the remaining cast struggling to maintain viewer interest. Insiders claim that the production team has applied immense pressure on Kody to capture footage portraying him as an attentive, present father, hoping to film moments of Truly laughing on the property, engaging in outdoor activities like four-wheeling, or gathering around a campfire to validate his role, all of which were meticulously scheduled under the guise of a parenting plan, with a first-class ticket intended to dazzle and entice compliance through the allure of VIP treatment, yet ignoring a fundamental reality. Truly is no longer a child easily swayed by gestures of wealth or status, but a teenager accustomed to a home filled with laughter, consistency, and genuine love, under the guidance of Christine and David, who have demonstrated what it means to care without cameras or ulterior motives, leaving the attempt to purchase her presence futile. Kody's assertion that he had a dedicated space prepared for her in his home is contradicted by reports suggesting she would be relegated to a blow-up mattress or fold-out couch amidst clutter and collections, while other family members enjoy private suites, highlighting a stark contrast between her secure, organized life in Utah and the chaotic environment she would face in Flagstaff, a miscalculation Kody seems not to have anticipated, assuming authority alone would compel her attendance. The emergence of a summer visit after months of absence, missed birthdays, and milestones raises questions about the motivations behind this sudden push, with sources suggesting that the production company's pressures, rather than genuine paternal affection, drove Kody's scheduling, framing his daughter as an asset to maintain his storyline and protect his income, only to be met with resistance reinforced by Truly's observation of a stable male figure in her life, David, whose consistent engagement without expectation of media attention contrasts sharply with Kody's performative gestures. The return of the ticket via certified mail, rather than simple non-compliance, delivered a tangible and humiliating statement, rejecting the attempt to monetize or manipulate her attention, emphasizing that her decision was grounded in autonomy rather than tantrum, and symbolizing the assertion of boundaries, personal agency, and self-respect that Kody could neither command nor override. The transactional nature of Kody's planning, treating his family like a corporation with children as employees whose duties can be scheduled, collided with the reality that children cannot be coerced into participation in their own lives, a lesson reinforced by Truly's refusal, which has reportedly prompted Kody to frame the situation to others as parental alienation, accusing Christine of influencing his daughter and David of overstepping, when in truth, the situation reflects the natural outcome of a child recognizing the difference between performative affection and authentic care, a distinction made glaringly evident when confronted with the tangible evidence of care and stability in her current home. Kody's meticulously crafted production plans, scripts of interactions, and hopes of portraying himself as a guiding patriarch collapsed with the empty seat, leading to embarrassment and rage rather than heartbreak, as the absence of truly disrupted filming schedules and forced explanations to other family members, highlighting the contrast between her free, empowered life and the rigid, controlled environment of Flagstaff, where reports describe strict rules, monitored conversations, and a household atmosphere in which one misstep could trigger scrutiny, a setting that undermines her autonomy and underscores the futility of attempting to coerce compliance through material incentives. The attempt to impress with a first-class ticket illustrates Kody's misunderstanding of parental influence, equating love with time spent in luxury rather than genuine engagement, a misjudgment that backfired spectacularly as Truly, confident in her own life and priorities, had no need to exchange her secure, enriching environment for a manipulated summer visit. Highlighting the contrast between transactional gestures and relational authenticity, and emphasizing that meaningful attention and connection cannot be purchased. Reports also suggest that any expectations regarding accommodation in Flagstaff were unrealistic, with the reality likely a cluttered space offering minimal comfort, further reinforcing the disparity between her life in Utah and the chaotic scenario she would face, making the decision to decline the invitation rational and empowering, rather than a rebellious act. Truly's choice, supported implicitly by Christine's guidance encouraging her to make her own decisions, shattered the illusion of authority Cody hoped to exert, undermining any narrative that positioned him as the victim and exposing the consequences of his own actions and neglect, while simultaneously forcing a re-evaluation of his role in family dynamics and the show's production plans, leaving the storyline uncertain and the responsibility for narrative coherence squarely on Cody's shoulders. The rejection also highlights the broader ramifications for household relations, including friction with Robyn, who relies on family unity to sustain her peacemaker image, revealing that even her position is contingent on the cooperation of all members, and that the refusal of a single teenager can destabilize perceived hierarchies and expose underlying tensions. Truly's refusal exemplifies the strength of establishing boundaries, the courage to prioritize personal well-being, and the refusal to accept token gestures in place of genuine connection, reinforcing lessons learned from observing parental departures and valuing environments where she is respected and heard. The empty first-class seat has become a powerful symbol of agency, independence, and self-respect, setting the stage for ongoing tensions throughout the summer, with anticipated responses from Cody including attempts to control narrative, leaked stories, accusations, or legal maneuvers. Yet the immediate outcome underscores the triumph of thoughtful autonomy over performative authority, as Truly remains in a space where she can enjoy a fulfilling life unmediated by manufactured drama. Contrasting sharply with the controlled and performative environment of Flagstaff. It wasn't a selfie or a picture capturing sadness, it was a candid shot of Truly behind the wheel of a car, her hands confidently on the steering wheel, with David Woolley in the passenger seat pointing out something on the dashboard, and the implications of that photograph are nothing short of seismic, for it visually confirms what Cody Brown has long prided himself on claiming. That he is the leader, the teacher, the man guiding his children into adulthood. Yet here is proof that another man is equipping his daughter with the fundamental skills of teenage independence, the patience and presence that Cody, despite his performative gestures, has failed to offer, and by sending that photograph, Truly was not merely rejecting the first-class ticket he had purchased. She was illustrating, with unambiguous clarity, exactly what she has been missing while Cody busied himself with Robyn's children and his own self-styled narrative, underscoring the disparity between attention purchased and attention earned, while also highlighting Cody's profound insecurity, which has long been exacerbated by his jealousy of the other men in the lives of the women around him, a jealousy now rendered irrelevant by the tangible, consistent guidance David provides. Yet the timing and motivation behind the ticket itself demand scrutiny. For this was not a simple act of generosity but a calculated attempt to secure content and maintain relevance, with production executives effectively dictating that the presence of the OG children was essential to preserve ratings, rendering the ticket less a gift than an investment in narrative control, a means to capture the required emotional moments, the hug, the tears, the reaction shots, so that Cody could perform the long-suffering father, and when Truly refused, it was not merely a personal affront but a direct challenge to his financial and professional livelihood, forcing him to frame the situation as custodial interference or parental alienation. Claiming ownership of her time due to the expenditure, when in reality, she is a teenage girl capable of articulating her own needs and preferences, fully aware of the stark contrast between a life of stability, love, and respect in Utah and a home environment in Flagstaff that is chaotic, surveilled, and performative, where the pressure of the cameras transforms every interaction into a test of compliance and patience. Truly's decision to remain at home represents a profound act of boundary setting, a refusal to participate in a manufactured summer where her role would be that of a prop rather than a daughter, informed by years of observation and a clear understanding of her father's past negligence, from his preoccupation during her kidney failure to the repeated episodes where she was sidelined while her siblings' needs were prioritized, all of which she has watched documented across old footage and online sources, giving her a point of comparison that leaves no room for misinterpretation. Utah is stability, Flagstaff is spectacle. The expectations of a summer visit promised adventure, family dinners, and engagement, but in practice, a meal at Robyn's house would be rife with tension, every word measured, every glance observed, a gauntlet of surveillance rather than an environment conducive to genuine connection, and Cody's assumption that a first-class ticket could substitute for this reality illustrates a fundamental misunderstanding of parental influence, conflating money and status with love and attention, yet truly recognizing the difference, rejected the offer, maintaining her autonomy, while also signaling to Cody and others that his performative attempts are insufficient in the face of authentic care, a lesson reinforced by the presence of David, whose consistent engagement, patience, and respect contrasts sharply with the transactional nature of her father's overtures. Legally, Cody's attempts to assert control by threatening court action reveal the extent of his misunderstanding, believing that monetary investment equates to entitlement, failing to recognize that the judiciary is likely to respect Trulis' articulate objections and her legitimate preferences, for at her age, she is neither a passive participant nor a child to be commanded. She is an agent capable of reasoned decision-making, capable of distinguishing between coercion and genuine care. The broader context emphasizes how his professional and financial incentives are entwined with personal misjudgments, as the show serves as both his narrative lifeline and a source of substantial income, with producers allegedly issuing ultimatums that the presence of the OG children was critical to sustaining the storyline, rendering the first-class ticket less an act of love and more a contractual instrument designed to deliver content for the cameras. Yet Trulis' refusal subverts this plan entirely, dismantling the expected arcs of the season, frustrating production schedules, and forcing Cody to confront the consequences of his mismanagement. The impact extends further to his interactions with Robyn and the other children, as his narrative of victimhood relies upon their complicity, yet the triangulation he attempts, portraying Trulis' autonomy as a personal betrayal or as influence from her mother, fails against the clarity of her choice, highlighting a cycle of manipulation and control that she consciously avoids by maintaining distance, while simultaneously exposing the inherent limitations of Cody's authority and the fragility of the familial hierarchy he seeks to uphold. Beyond the personal and familial implications, Trulis' rejection demonstrates an understanding of her physical environment, as the reported clutter and hoarding in the Flagstaff house, pathways barely navigable, and shared spaces overtaken by possessions, would have made her feel like an outsider, further emphasizing the irrationality of the invitation, which promised comfort and attention but could deliver only surveillance, scrutiny, and discomfort. Moreover, Trulis' decision is informed by collective experience, as her siblings have similarly recognized the stark difference in David's household, witnessing a father figure who contributes, engages, and respects without self-interest or performative necessity, establishing a new baseline for what a healthy parental presence entails, leaving Cody increasingly isolated from the family he seeks to control, with his attempts to manipulate perception thwarted by the visible reality of a stable, caring home elsewhere. The ramifications for the show are equally profound, as production teams reliant on predictable narratives are forced to pivot, capturing the reactions, the frustration, and the meltdown rather than the desired emotional reunion, transforming what was intended as a content-rich summer into a spectacle of exposed narcissism, highlighting the contrast between manufactured drama and lived reality, while also granting Truly the freedom to experience her summer unmediated by cameras, obligation, or manipulation. Her returned ticket, accompanied by a formal, meticulously organized schedule blocking out every week with activities, volunteering, and family commitments, functioned as a clear, structured refusal, an exercise in agency. He has no shield now. He cannot hide behind fun dad activities if there is no child to share them with. Left with Robyn, the clutter, and the oppressive silence of a house too large and empty of genuine love, he is confronted daily by the certified letter resting somewhere on a desk in Flagstaff, a stark reminder of the bridge he burned, and by the image of David teaching Truly to drive, an indelible reality check that he never wanted to face, a replacement and an upgrade that demonstrates what money cannot buy: presence, patience, and trust. The fallout of the return ticket is only just beginning, as reports indicate that Cody is not merely upset but actively planning countermeasures involving legal threats, social media maneuvers, and a desperate attempt to rewrite the narrative before the new season airs, a cornered man becoming volatile and increasingly obsessed with rights over relationships. He is reportedly consulting with legal counsel, or at the very least venting to anyone who will listen about filing a motion for custodial interference, latching onto legal terminology as a lifeline, casting Christine not as a protective mother but as a criminal obstructing what he perceives as his property, refusing to acknowledge that his daughter possesses the autonomy to reject him independently. This is a classic narcissistic injury. The inability to conceive of a world where he is not the axis around which all revolve. Yet the reality of any potential court battle is stark. A judge would need only a brief viewing of past footage to recognize patterns of neglect, and at Truly's age, her articulated objections carry weight, from the lack of space to feelings of discomfort and the intrusive presence of cameras, rendering any coercive attempts to force visitation not only morally questionable but legally tenuous. Cody's efforts are further complicated by the David factor, a tangible demonstration of parenting in its unglamorous, demanding, and patient form, exemplified by the driving lessons that reflect engagement, care, and consistent attention, contrasted with Cody's preference for superficial, performative activities like four-wheeling for the cameras, and it is this contrast that transforms the empty plane seat into a potent symbol, echoing years of absence at the dinner table, a vacancy in emotional presence that no first-class ticket can fill. Within the Flagstaff household, tensions escalate as the reconciliation summer is officially cancelled, frustrating producers who had planned storylines around the arrival of the OG children and forcing a pivot in narrative focus. With Cody inevitably cast as the central source of conflict, his frustrations and complaints captured for the cameras, ensuring that the season will highlight his bitterness and failed attempts at control. The condition of the Flagstaff home adds another dimension to the narrative. The volume of possessions, clutter, and hoarded items creates a chaotic environment that starkly contrasts with the light, organized, and serene atmosphere of Truly's home in Utah, reinforcing the legitimacy of her decision to decline the visit, as the energy and lived experience of a home are as significant as the physical space itself. Cody's insistence that his absence was necessary for work collapses under scrutiny, as the reality is that the production itself constitutes his labor, and without the children, the content dries up, leaving him increasingly irrelevant. The OG children and their lives are the true draw for audiences, and without their presence, Cody is reduced to an angry figure in a crowded, unloving household, a stark visual for viewers accustomed to drama with authentic stakes. As summer progresses, Truly is likely to be visible on social media, living an ordinary, fulfilling life, gardening, hiking, and engaging in everyday activities. Each post a reminder of the autonomy and stability she enjoys, contrasting sharply with Cody's increasingly performative responses, cryptic quotes, and monologues on loyalty and betrayal, a futile attempt to regain narrative control. The legal implications are equally complex, as Cody threatens court action on the grounds of parental rights and ownership derived from the purchase ticket. Yet the reality remains that a teenager of Truly's maturity will be heard by the court, and any attempt to coerce compliance risks exposing his past behavior, living conditions, and financial arrangements to judicial scrutiny, a precarious situation that reflects both his desperation and his lack of foresight. Truly's decision represents a collective understanding among the OG children of what constitutes a healthy parental presence, recognizing that respect, consistency, and genuine engagement cannot be substituted with transactional gestures or performative actions, and this shared experience further isolates Cody from the familial dynamic he seeks to control, revealing the limitations of his authority in the face of informed, empowered children.